Greetings, everyone. Here we are with the Sunday Zoom Live special guest Gabby to share
Oh,
her MFS experience. She chickened out last time, so
a little bit.
it's all as well. It's great to have you here, Gabby. Um,
Thank you, guys.
you know, let's let's hear your story of. A little bit about your background and so on and so forth. And you just basically came from typical Italian diet into fasting lifestyle.
But all of a sudden, yeah, like no stations in between. Basically, well, I was born in Argentina, as you know, probably because I always say so. I'm the youngest one of my family. Like I really came really late. My dad had me when he was 52 years old, so I'm really the last one. So in that sense, they really spoiled me, because they retired when I was very, very young. Like my dad finished working when I was 5. So I had my parents always around, and the way in which Argentinian culture has a lot to do with food is very much like Italy in that sense. So a way in which they really gave me love was through really cooking very large meals, and food was always important. For my mom, every night she would cook whatever everybody wants. It was like a restaurant. She would ask like, what do you want to eat, Gabby? What do you want to eat, Nestor? My father, and she would cook, especially for us. So
Are your parents
everything,
Italian?
no, that's the funny thing. 90% of Argentinians have Italian background, but from my mom's side, they are Portuguese. Like in
Oh,
fact, I have the Portuguese citizenship, and from my dad's side is South Spain. So yeah, 100% from Iberia in that sense. But still, food was really important as growing up, and I never really ever had any type of diet. It was always whatever I wanted to eat, I ate. In that sense, always I never was very much connected with my femininity either. So, all these things, even as a teenager, when you grow up and you want to look nice and stuff, I never really care. So really, I would eat anything. But at the same time, I was doing a lot of sports. Like I had my horses since I was very, very young. I started doing horse riding when I was 3 years old. And then I started having my own horses when I was 10. So I started competing. And when you have a horse, it's not, like any other sport that you go twice a week. When you have a horse, you have to go every day. So I would take care of my horse, just train every day. And I was in a school that they were like very, very, asking a lot of my training. So, I was doing a lot of sports. Also, I was doing hockey at school. And my life was very active. So, I was eating, but I was doing a lot of sports. So it didn't seem like a problem in that sense. I used to go to a school all day from 7 a.m. until 5 p.m. And then I would go back home, have a milk, and just go to do horse riding. So all my day was busy. And I was always very focused on the brain and the mind too. So I would read a lot and just think and just wanted to study languages and do all sorts of things. So basically the body was disregarded totally. Even in sports, like I had some problems like tendinitis on my arms because of the effort, because I was a tiny 10-year-old with that 800-kilo horse, and I was training dressage. So I would put myself to extremes. And when the doctor said, yeah, you need to stop for 6 months, I was like, no way, I keep riding. So I never listened to my body. That's just one of the examples of all my life, never listening to the body. Then when I finished school, I was like around 18. When you finish high school, I start doing university. And I was always very crazy. So I did 3 degrees at the same time. So I was rushing from one university to the others, to learn all sorts of things. I studied law because of my family. My parents were very adamant for me to study law because I was always interested in humanities. And for them, it was like, you're going to starve to death. So you have to study something that is useful. So, they insisted on that. And then I studied art history and history. So my brain was always very busy, and I stopped sports because I didn't have time. So I stopped everything. I almost didn't do anything with my body anymore. And I ate anything also because I was rushing from university to university. So I was eating crap, basically paninos, whatever I could find, I would eat. I didn't care. Basically, that was my life until when I was 27, 26. I didn't have any spiritual inclination. On the opposite, I would fight. My parents are weird and they have their own mystical things. And I was like, you know, when you're a teenager, you just confront your parents. So I was like, yeah, you're like a medieval person with all these ideas about God. You don't understand it. And I will fight with them and just never pay attention to anything. When I was 26, after living in Europe for a while because I had a scholarship, blah, 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 very academic, very narrow-minded in that sense, I went to a trip in Peru. I just did it for, you know, for fun. Some friends were coming from Mexico. And in that trip, it was the Inca Trail. We went to the mountains, you know, up for 5 days. And in that trip, something happened. I was disconnected, you know, from the phone and the normal life. I was just in the mountains. And I came back from that trip completely changed. Something happened. I have no idea what happened. In 1 month, I resigned the tribunal. I stopped everything. I told my parents it was a huge family drama. And all of a sudden, I started with an identity crisis, let's call it. I was like, I don't know who I am. I need to go. I need to go. And I had this voice telling me, you need to leave. If you stay in Argentina, you will never know who you are. You just need to leave. And I got it like into a depression for like 3 months. I was crying, not knowing what to do, thinking I was crazy. And then I just took some things in a backpack, $800 in my pocket. That was all I had. I resigned my job. I left the house. I left everything, and I just left to Peru again. And I started traveling, and I never went back to Argentina. And this is 6 years already. And it was magical because I had nothing. And the most important people I've met and the most important experiences of my life have been during these 6+ years. And it was an amazing experience because once you trust really God, because I had nothing. It was like I had only knowing that I needed to live and that I needed to trust life. And the moment I had that, things happen. Things start happening. And in that sense, I think Master Fast enters too into the picture because everything that I needed in these 6 years appeared in the right moment. I have many stories of these 6 years, but I'm not gonna bore you with all of them. But yeah, amazing people appear in the right moment. I never regret not going back to Argentina. I never regret leaving that life behind. I don't think I'm that person anymore, the person that left. But coming back to the story of the food, well, when I was traveling, I ate anything, again, everything. Argentinian culture has a lot to do with meat. So I basically ate meat a lot, especially when I was traveling in the Balkans, in Serbia, all that area, they ate a lot of meat. I stayed a long time there. But then, like 2-3 years ago, when I went to the monastery, I started becoming vegetarian because in the monastery, because that's the thing. I did some masters in Europe for a while. I did Western esoteric and astrology in Amsterdam because I still thought academics could merge in the spirituality thing. And then I saw that academics is just the same thing. You know, they just do intellectual masturbation, sorry for the expression, and they don't really do go into anything real, you know? They just talk and they discuss and they put a lot of energy into very small things. So yeah, I just left that. You know, I also disappointed many people in the university because they thought I would stay for maybe PhD or something, but I just left. And then I decided to go to a monastery. I went to this monastery in Thailand, in North Thailand. And I did meditation before. During these years, I did many things before. I tried many different methods. And then I went into this place because I was in a really bad state after some ayahuasca experiences I did in the Amazonas in between. And I got into another big depression. This was 2014. And that was the only time in my life I thought about committing suicide, really, because it was like a void. I never knew that. I'm very, energetic and bubbly and all this, but I had a very tough experience with the plant. I respect her still and everything. Is not that I'm saying, but I had that experience that was very tough. And after that, for like some months, I didn't felt any love. And this is terrible because one thing is to be alone, physically or whatever. But another thing is to be really alone in your soul. When you lose all connection with everybody, like I was in such a state that somebody could tell me like, your parents died. And I was like, okay, I was completely shut down. Like my heart was shut down. And this lasted some months. And then I went to this monastery because I didn't know what to do. So somebody told me, you should go to that place and, just try this meditation. They say it's very powerful, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, yeah, I have nothing to lose, at this point, whatever, I will go there. And I went there and that was the only thing that brought me back, really. So after that, I really respect, this type of meditation. And I met Paulo there too. So it was not useless at all going to the monastery. He was my teacher. And I stayed living in the monastery for a while. Paulo has stayed there for long years. He started there 15 years ago. And he was living there for the last 2 years of this phase until, I stayed there for a long time. And then, of course, he got into trouble because we start having a relationship in a monastery context. And even if it was at the beginning a friendship, it was really hard for people there to understand that, especially because we were talking Italian. And Italian is so expressive that they thought we were discussing all the time or that we were in some passionate thing, and they couldn't understand it. So it was very tough. And at some point we decided to go away from the monastery and to take this meditation method out. So going back to the food, because maybe I'm going, I'm diverting myself a little bit from the story. The point with the food is that when I go to the monastery has 2 types of offering of food. They still offer meat. You have a table of meat. And then you have a table of vegetarian food. So the meat didn't look very nice. So thanks to that, I started being vegetarian 3 years ago. And then when I went out of the monastery, Paulo was already vegetarian, and he started to show me that vegetarianism was really, like, it could be really good. Because when I was in Argentina, for Argentinian people that we eat so much meat, vegetarianism is salads. Like they think, okay, you are like a cow eating grass. Like they don't understand the concept of vegetarianism so well. But so I had this idea.
I remember you writing on your post about you had stomach problems from when you were small.
Yeah, thanks for asking the useful questions. Yeah, when I was small, like since I was very, very little, 3 years old, I had very heavy stomach problems. I grew up, my parents were really nice, but at the same time, they were very conflicted people. There was a lot of violence at home between them, not with me. I was the small one, so I was the only one with them. My eldest brothers and siblings, they were all living, so I stayed with them and all this mess around me. One of my first memories is my parents discussing and asking me that I was 2 years old, who I want to be with. And I was just crying, like a 2-year-old, like you cannot ask a 2-year-old these things. So at the same time, my surname is Guerrero, which means warrior in Spanish. And for my family, that's very important. Like for my dad, being a warrior, being a Guerrero means a lot of things. And it means to be tough. He has this feeling, he's older generation too. So, it means to be tough, not to cry, not to express emotions, blah, blah, blah. So I grew up like this, since I was 3 years old, I wouldn't cry, tough up, whatever happens. And I think I realized with the master fast that all these things went to my stomach. Throughout my growing up, I had problems in my stomach in the sense that every time I would get nervous for something, everything was in my stomach. And I would get acidity in my stomach. Like I couldn't even take a nap. Like if I would take a nap, even like 3 hours after I had lunch, I take 20 minutes nap. I would wake up with burning in my stomach, terrible, like feeling super bad. So I was never taking naps anyway. So it was all this emotional thing inside that I never wanted to face, not even with the meditation, not even with anything. You know, it took me long years to start to see that having feelings is not to be weak, really, because for me, having feelings, it was weakness. To show feelings was to be weak. So it was really hard for me to acknowledge any vulnerability I might have. You know, I was always a warrior. I can do it, you know, I can push myself, I can just do it. And that's how I lived my life for the last 32 years. And when I was in the monastery, it was amazing. Like in one retreat, I went there and I started doing one retreat after the other because I'm crazy. You know, I'm this extreme person that, you know, when I want to do something, I just do it. So normal people do one retreat. They're tough enough. Like the last days of the retreat, you don't sleep. You are 3 days meditating nonstop. So I will finish one retreat, take 2 days off and start another one. Take 2 days off and I start another one. And people were like, what are you doing? Well, in one of those retreats, I told Paulo, amazed, I told him, you know what? I have fear. I saw fear. For the first time in my life, I couldn't even allow myself to feel fear. And that is crazy because it's such a human feeling. We all have that. And it's the root of so many other things. So my biggest problem was anger. And that was a problem my whole life. I would always get angry. I even dismissed people. You know, I was not a nice person. I don't know if I am now, but I assure you I was not nice when I was in my 20s. You know, when you are a teenager, you just feel entitled for so many things. And with all this anger, I just felt...
Burning the stomach.
Burning the stomach, yeah. Manipura, they say in yoga, you know, the solar plexus, all was there. So yeah, anger was a big issue, and that was another of the reasons why I end up in the monastery, because my relationships were always very tough, were always very turbulent in general. Also friendships, not only couples. It was always my way or the highway. You know, you cannot live like this. But I don't know, somehow I was blessed or cursed by having people around me that loved me so much that they put up with such things, and that didn't help me really to grow. But fortunately, you know, it took time, but I could start seeing that my ways were not the best ones, and I'm still learning, of course. But I can tell you that the master fast, the meditation first, I think it created the soil for this to happen, and then the master fast was like boom. Because I see that many things you can understand with your mind, and you can even see it with your consciousness when you are in deep meditation. You can see it. But if they're stored in your body, if they're stored in a cellular level, you can do so much, but you cannot take them out. If their impurities are in the body, like I tell you, I did retreats. I did so many things to try to take, like, I live my life trying to observe myself constantly. For me, meditation is not just doing a retreat and then, you know, just being... I try not to be mechanical, and I try constantly to observe myself. But the mind, you cannot do some changes with the mind. They have to go deeper. They have to happen in another level. So in that sense, Master Fast, I think, is the first thing in my life that helped me with the anger for real, that helped me with the anger in a more permanent way. And maybe I'm going ahead because I know dear Rana, she structures the interviews better, but you know, I'm a mess. But I can tell you that in the post-master fast, the fact of starting to eat, I'm already seeing that the anger, like, I'm not reacting to it, but the anger is appearing more often only by eating. So I'm thinking about doing another one not too long from now, because I don't want these changes to disappear. But well, yeah.
The journey has just begun.
Yeah, that's for sure. It already did a lot for only one fast of 108 days. Like, I can acknowledge that. But I know that, you know, it takes a long time to take out of the impurities. It's just physics, you know, if you like, like you said at the beginning of the interview, I never did not even 1 day of fasting before jumping into 108 days.
Yeah.
So I ate anything. Yes, Rana, sorry.
Yeah, I wanted to say that nothing connects us more to God more than fasting. And then you combine fasting and prayers, and you're set for life.
Yeah. Well, like I always said in my post, you know, like my motivation to do this was a spiritual one, in the sense that I left Argentina trying to find answers, and, you know, I would do anything. They would say, okay, go to the Amazonian jungle. I would go. Go to the monastery in Thailand. I would go. Go and do this. And I would do anything. So when I read of, like, there were double motivation, in the sense that Paulo needed it, in a sense, when I read the testimonies of so many people, I was very eager sharing this with Paulo and telling him, hey, I think this is it. We tried so many things, nothing really worked. I think this is it. Like, please, we need to try this. So that was one motivation for me to do it, because of course I was not gonna keep eating pasta while poor Paulo, you know, was strong with that. But mostly, personally, my motivation was spiritually. Like, I read so many testimonies talking about, you know, what you are saying, Rana, you know, how they felt nearer to God, how they felt more in contact with their own consciousness, with their own soul talking. And for me, that was always the hardest thing. You know, the soul whispers, is subtle. It's not, you know, like the mind that is chattering. So it's always harder to listen to the soul. So when I read these things about the master fast, I was like, I need to try this. You know, like, if there's something that would push me to go beyond my comfort zone regarding food, because, you know, more comfort than me, I would eat anything, like, I had no limits in any sense. It was God. It was my search for God. So yeah, I started this completely blindly, not knowing what to expect, really. It appeared by chance in Facebook somehow about Gino, an interview he made with someone, whatever. And, you know, I heard the interview, and, you know, Gino is also very manipuristic. You know, he's like, yeah, you know, you just do it. So in that sense, you know, we connect very well. Even if we didn't know each other, I was like, yeah, this guy, I believe him. You know, I resonate with him. So, you know, if there was one person that was perfect to transmit such a message to me, in that sense, it was you, you know, because other personalities, maybe I wouldn't have been so open. So after that, we just start gathering our materials, you know, those 6 months, I'm crazy. So I start like reading and seeing all the interviews and reading everything I could, and really, you know, following the group and reading and rereading the protocol, trying to know, you know, that nerd part of me, asking all sorts of crazy questions, because once you start the master fast, you realize that the questions you ask are really stupid before you are doing the master fast, because most of them, like, most of the questions disappear with day one, because the protocol is pretty simple. When you read it and you don't experiment it, you think it's really crazy. Oh no, what? I need to do what? And then the TNT. But then you do it, and it's super simple. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just it's really simple to follow. So then the day came that we needed to start. Yeah, I was very, very, very decided to do it. But yeah, I didn't know what I was going to encounter. Like, in that sense, we thought with Paulo, we were prepared. I even went to Argentina to get my license, my driving license, because we thought that he was going to be in a mess and I was going to be okay, because I'm young. You know, I'm young. I never had any health problem. I was going to be okay. And he, with his headache, was going to be, it was the opposite. You know, you never know with life. It's crazy. So yeah, day 3 of the master fast, day three, I just started to have terrible pain in my stomach, headaches. It was, I'm gonna be honest, like, I would tell everybody to do it, but my experience was hard. My experience was really the hardest thing I ever done. maybe because it was localized in my stomach, maybe because all the emotions I had suppressed for so long, they just, you know, blew up in my face. I'm not blaming at all the system for what happened to me, but this is what happened. I really had so much pain that I'm thinking about it now, and I'm amazed that I could continue. Because it was day 5. You know, I had a calendar with the 108 days, you know, and I was every day making the cross. And day 3, from day 3 to day 8, it was a nightmare. And Paulo was begging me, please stop, like, or please take a medicine for your stomach. And I was like, no, I will do it, you know. And I continued like that the whole 108 days. It was, I don't know how I did it. I was like crying and surrendering to God. I was saying, please,
we know.
Do whatever. Yeah, you know. I was like, from time to time, I was just throwing all this to you guys in the group. I didn't know what to do. You know, I just knew I had to continue. I didn't have any doubt that I had to continue. I was asking the I King, you know, the I King with the, that was my oracle. I was like, the day the I King says, okay, stop, this is a mess, I will stop. But if the King says continue, I continue. That was the only thing I was asking from time to time. Sorry, Rana. Yeah.
How many liters of enema you're doing? You were doing mainly 2, sometimes more.
2.
But at the beginning, you were doing 2, I guess, right?
At the beginning, I was following the protocol. So I knew that every day I needed to do 1 enema at least.
No, we want 6 liters of liquid.
That's 6 liters of enema a day?
Liquid, yeah. Yeah. That's the thing. Yeah, I know. It's important to really wash the colon, especially at the beginning, because there's so much food waste. So you, to help your body, the best thing you can do is as much washing as you can, especially at the beginning.
I will tell Paulo, he will die with this news. Because it's really tough. We were very afraid before we started about this whole enema thing, you know, because when you never did one, you think it's, what are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, Colima would be
Colima would be ideal. Like at some point I start doing colonics, but really Colima boards, they don't arrive here to Italy, you know. It's always the problem of being far away. Like in the States or in Canada, probably you find things easier.
We're looking into that for sure.
I know. I read Gina at some point. He said he was gonna try to find a worldwide delivery thing. But yeah, like if I would have one, I would have used it, of course. But with the enemas, at some point I was feeling so bad, and you were advising that, you know, of doing many enemas, and I was doing 3 enemas a day. I was dying, Rana. I was crying, really. I was in the floor. Paulo was helping me with the enemas because I couldn't. No, you have no idea how it was. God bless Paulo. Like I wouldn't have been able to continue this without him.
It's amazing you guys did it together.
It was amazing, and it was so tough. Like I will do like a parenthesis now. To be honest, to anybody who wants to do it with a partner, be prepared to purify the partnership too. Like I can tell you, there is a before and an after our relationship with Paulo. Even though it was a relationship that started in a monastery, you know, with a lot of, how to say, it's not that we met in a bar and we never talk about who we were, you know. It was like in a context of really trying to see yourself, etc., and really trying to talk about our shit. You know, he met me and I was angry, so he knew what he was dealing with. But you know, in partnerships, you always have this very large degree of projection and idealization of the other person you're with. All that crumble with the Master of Us. And in that sense, it's good, because something died. You know, an idealization of who Paulo was and an idealization of who I was for him totally crashed down. We really saw the worst of each other. You know, Paulo had all this repressed anger that he didn't even know. I knew my anger, but I had other shit coming out in all literal senses. And it was tough for the partnership, really. During some moments of the Master of Us, I really thought, yeah, maybe this is it also. Maybe we cannot continue after this. You know, something broke in a sense, but also something is reborn. Like now, it's more real. the relationship. It's more, I know who he is. I know what I'm dealing with. It's not an idealization of this, Zen master that no, it's a real person, and I'm not this princess for him anymore. I'm Gaby with all her. So now there is growth in a sense. Now it's real. Now, like we were saying, one of these days, we were saying, maybe now is the time in which we really learn what it is to love, what it is to love for real. Not just, this romantic thing that people usually have. What to really love, what it is, to really accept a person with everything it is, with all the problems, with all our complex, different moods and everything. So
that's pretty rare in today's generations.
Yeah. It's very rare, I think, in every generation. But I'm lucky also in that sense to be with a person that is, it's good in that sense. Paolo, it's amazing because I have to say, I tell Paolo, let's go to the jungle and drink ayahuasca, and Paolo is like, right on. I said, Paolo, let's go and do 108 days of no eating. He's right on. I love that. You need a person that goes, that goes along with such things. A person, if you're looking for God and you have a person that, I don't know, is not really gonna put everything into that too, it's impossible. But yeah, I learned also to treasure what I have much more. Like you say, it's not so easy to find people that sometimes I take it for granted, but it's really not easy, to find people that are in our same vibration, or call it whatever you want.
You attracted them?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, sometimes I think about the path in a sense by thinking about the people that I share it with, how different they are through the ages, through the years that pass by. So yes, for the partners, I would tell them, do this if you really want to love, if you really want to know love for real, if you really want to be with a real person, to get out all the illusions that you had before. It's a purification of the partnership too. And that is tough. First can be tough in itself for your body. This is also a shock. So yeah, if you're
I see it as like we become more godly, and you would want your relationship to be more godly, and it's just a huge transformation. It's beautiful. It's like the most beautiful thing ever. It's the most beautiful relationships,
But you said godlike, and I feel so far away from that. I think Masterclass also helps you to see reality as it is. In that sense, it's very near Vipassana, the meditation. You see that all the work you still have to do. The nice things about the Masterclass, sorry, my English today is terrible. Some days it's better, some days it's worse.
Better than mine.
Huh? I didn't.
First language.
No, come on. Your Italian is. We are still talking with Paolo that you surprised us with your Italian. We didn't know you were so good. But what the Masterclass gave me regarding spirituality, that for me was amazing, because I entered looking for that, no? So I suffer a lot for many days. But I would say that the last 30 days of the past run, around the last month, I was suffering a little bit, because the thing is that after, okay, let's talk about the fast in a more organized way, because this is important information. So I made some mistakes in the master fast.
We all do.
I made mistakes that cost me the dry fast, because at the beginning I was doing very long dry fasts. Like my daily dry fast was like 14, 15 hours. Because the thing it was like the protocol for me was a nightmare, in the sense that my stomach was such a mess that everything was hurting. So I would wake up and just take the tinctures, and I was destroyed for 2 hours. Then the tea a little bit was okay, but then I was also not good with the tea. Then I was taking the juice, and it was a nightmare. I was feeling nauseous all the time. So So taking a break from that was heaven to me. So the dry fast were the best, you know. So I was like, yeah, come on, I would do 15 hours of dry fast. Then I was doing the weekly. I started with 36-hour dry fast, 48 maybe. Then I went into the monthly dry, and I did the first time 72, the second one I did 80, and the third one I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Like I arrived into a point that I couldn't do. Hey, Francesco, sei arrivato. So I arrived into a point that I couldn't do them anymore. Like even 24 hours dry fast was a nightmare. I shrink the dailies to 12 because at some point in all this crisis, of course, I talked with you guys. Rana explained to me, she was like, hey, you cannot do so much. And I cooled down, I started doing less hours. But then the monthly, I couldn't do them anymore. I couldn't do more than 24 hours and really struggling. So that is a huge mistake. Try really to do the minimum required dry fast. Don't go too much off, because I think you pay it at the end. I'm not sure, because I don't have all the answers, if this was the case for me, but what I can tell you is that I couldn't do the dry fast. And probably I was dehydrated, we all are, but the fact that I pushed myself so hard probably make it harder.
Yeah, many people did this mistake. Many people did this mistake. They would say that, oh, I love the dry fasting. And they would do more and more. And then towards the end, they're like bedridden. They can't move from their bed, You're like, start eating, this is not good. Stop the detox because you pushed it.
Wow.
And, yeah. And the reason you were feeling sick at the beginning, in my opinion, is because you were still very backed up. You would feel nauseous when you drink the juice. The juice is very powerful. If it doesn't move your bowels, you're gonna throw up. It's gonna have to come from somewhere. I mean, I did one time. I couldn't go to the bathroom, and I ended up throwing up. Because I was in the streets. So I threw up. And I know I had to do something. I had to come out of my body because I think I drank too fast. I drank too fast one day. And it had to come out.
The same with the bubbly. The bubbly, I would throw it up every time. It was very hard for my stomach.
You can avoid the bubbles, but at least drink, the liquid.
Yeah. I think it was very interesting something Gino said, because when I was in day 3 or 5 or whatever, and I posted about how bad I felt, Gino said, like, this is a sign that you have a lot of work to do, like really, because it cannot be that only in 3-4 days I was in a mess. I was really in such a mess. I never came out of that. The last month after this happened, of the big dehydration, let's call, or whatever happened, that I couldn't keep doing the dry fast so well, I was feeling really bad. And I had to make a decision, because you guys were telling me to break the fast. And of course I wouldn't do it. But I had to drink these 2 liters, which it was a nightmare for me to drink. It was really tough for me to do it, but I knew that I had to drink them because otherwise I should break the fast. So I was in this mess, in this contradiction. So I took a decision, because every time I moved, even if I go out, even if I went out of the house, I couldn't drink. Like I would start with a heavy nausea. So I took the decision of just staying like a couch potato for a whole month. And it was not an easy decision, because my body needed to move. And of course, it's probably make it harder, because I understand that the energy, if it's stagnant, it's worse. I needed to move. But it was, or I move and I break the fast, or I just stay and I drink these 2 liters of juice somehow. I put them in my body somehow. And I took the second decision. I was so determined to finish these 108 days, whatever. I needed to finish them. And I had my reasons. It's not that I'm just crazy. For me, it was, on one side, I'm stubborn. Of course, I'm stubborn. Secondly, because it was an opportunity for me. Really, it's not so easy to take time to do this. For me, it was like that. It was such an intense experience that I needed to take the time out. I know most people, of course, they do it while they're doing their normal things, and I know it's possible. But I thank God that I had the opportunity to take the time off, because I wouldn't have been able to do normal things. I was really feeling so bad because of my own reactions. that this was the only way I could do it.
Yeah, Gaby, I honestly, in my opinion, the only time people have a hard time is when they don't follow the protocol. From the beginning. From the beginning. Yeah, but not enough enemas, and and more dry fasting. So people are gonna get burnt out. They're gonna get dehydrated. I mean, there are small things, but they really make a difference. So stay consistent as much as you can. Even if you don't like the juice, and you want to drink 2 liters a day, I don't want to. I'm not thirsty. I'm not hungry, but I still do it. Really. So you get used to these things. Maybe next time you do the master fast, you must keep these in mind. And I'm sure it's going to be easier, much easier.
I think I learned the hard way for sure. But it was not a question of not liking the juice. It was a question of really feeling sick. It was not even a question of not liking the tinctures or not liking anything. It was really that I was feeling super bad. Even the enemas, that I knew that then they would give me release, or maybe it was good after the enemas. In the moment, I was really suffering. In the moment, my stomach was hurting so bad when the water was entering, when the water was in. Everything was suffering.
That's normal. Huh? For me, colonics are never easy. Never easy.
Really?
Yeah, they're suffering. I mean, they're uncomfortable. They're definitely uncomfortable. Sometimes I have to do this because I'm feeling nauseous during my colonic.
Yeah, so, that happened my last colonic. I was feeling super bad. But the first ones were such a blessing, I never had any problem. I thought, okay, this is awesome. And I was trying to go as open as I could. But the last one, I almost passed out. I was feeling so nauseous. And I went so pale, and I couldn't deal with it anymore. And I thought, okay, something is going on. I felt worse than before doing the colonics, but in general, they were like magical, really good experiences. So
when somebody, you want to gauge somebody's health, you put them on a few days fast to a week, and right away the condition of their body. The more suffering, the more backed up they are. When you have cleansed for years, a few days a week fast, it won't even phase you. It's nothing. So this is what starts happening. We're putting through this juices and the herbs, and all this stuff is starting to get stirred up and starting to get into circulation, and it needs to come out. And that's the problem. It's not being able to come out quick enough, and that's why we feel wasted. We're drowning in our own filth. Basically, is what's happening. So that's why washing through this way, through drinking and through enemas, is very crucial. And the people that get in trouble are doing too much dry, and the dry starts bringing up more of the release.
It's like a sponge.
Yeah, on master fast, people are doing long dry fasts and eating all kinds of diets, but nothing's really happening because the fast is actually putting more focus on all the crap in their GI tract and not really at the cellular level. So you don't see much regeneration as we see here. We're seeing with people on master fast. This is the misunderstanding. People are not really keen on understanding what fasting really is, and the depths that we're going through is unreal. We haven't seen any plateau. Let's put it that way. With people on master fast. And then each fast, you're going to strip another layer and another layer and another layer. Every fast that you start doing, if you maintain the less is more lifestyle, clean eating and so on and so forth. But your posts were pretty interesting, and I like to entice people. If you're feeling so much, break the fast, and sometimes that encourages people to go on or they break the fast. I can't decide, but I knew you had that in you that you wanted to keep going for some reason. So I kind of
determined.
Put the screws together a bit.
But I don't regret it really. And then when I was reading the books of Eret, that he also was saying what you said, that when so fast people start having this reaction, it means that the body is in such a bad state. I start thinking really that, there is an age in which people start really feeling, all the illnesses start coming up, maybe when you're in your 40s or whatever. And I was like, I was going such a bad road. You really guys saved me, because maybe now I didn't realize. Maybe in 5 years time I would be still okay thinking that I'm young or whatever. But in 10 years from now, maybe I was gonna start to pay for this. So in that sense, I'm sure that the Master Fast did a lot for me. A lot of preventing, which is even better. Before having really the bad, but even the stomach. Now I don't have any problem of the stomach. I'm feeling super well. Like maybe one of the reasons is that I don't get angry. That probably a lot of the problem had a lot to do with that. The emotions is the seed of all. Yeah, I know. And I'm very intense person, fire and water astrologically. So everything for me is happy or very. Yeah, Gina, you're about to say.
Yeah, we're talking about emotions in Master Fast as they coming up, all the imbalanced emotions. But at the same time, we have to also look at the most powerful emotion, which is love, which brings balance to everything. So yeah, emotion is the seed of all. But so we're looking for a way to release all these emotions which we have stored from all our ancestors and everything that we've built up ourselves. And it's a lot for some of us, a lot. So once it's coming out, whoa, we start seeing, holy geez. And that's why a lot of people break the fast. They just can't handle it, and they numb themselves out. They just don't want to deal with that pain of the emotion. They'd rather have the pain of the physical body. It's easier for them. And they go back to
that I saw very fast, because I never analyzed my relationship with food before. I would eat anything and I would never even think about it. As soon as I start the fast, I start seeing this dependence, the food. Dependence in the sense of psychologically and emotionally wanting to eat. It had nothing to do with really what I ate. And even now in the post-fast, some days with Paulo, we had this of really being hungry. And I asked him, am I really hungry or it's the mind? Because is the body hungry? Like, I just had this vegetable bowl. I cannot be hungry. It's not physically possible, but the mind is hungry. And then Paul is saying like, wow, am I eating more than before? Like, what's going on? And I was telling him the other day, like, what I think is that now I was telling him like, hey, watch, it's not that you're eating more than before. Remember, you used to eat the plate of pasta, then the fruit, then this, then, yeah. You're not eating more than before, that's for sure. But the thing is that now we are aware, which is a big difference, because before you're binging, you're eating anything, you had the cookies and the chocolate and whatever, and you don't even realize. And now you're more aware, and then you're more aware of this trick of the mind, because it cannot be that you're hungry after just eating a bowl of vegetables. It's not possible. But the mind is so powerful that creates even the sensation, the physical sensation of hunger. That's crazy.
You are more full when you were fasting.
When you're fasting, you're not hungry. If somebody is afraid of fasting because they think they will be hungry, you're not hungry. No, at all.
It's an illusion. It's created by the monkey mind. It's not real.
Yeah. But yeah, when you're fasting, you're in heaven in that sense. Like I tell you guys, if my next fast, I don't have these physical reactions that I used to have, I stay in the fast. I have no problem, because all the other things were awesome. In fact, the last month, because I go from there, but I wanted to say this before. The last month of the fast, I was having pain and I was being a couch potato and all this, but in a way it was a little bit less than the previous months of the fast. And I was able for the first time to start reading again, because my plan was to read the whole Master Fast. I was like, yeah, I'm taking this time for myself. But I was in such a suffering that I couldn't even think the first month. But the last one, I was able to read and do some studies that I like to study about mysticism and gnosis and all these ancient Christians that were doing fast. Also, the Sims and all these communities. So I was reading these things. And I was starting to feel really, really good in that sense, mentally and spiritually. Like the last month my mind was so sharp. Now it's not anymore. Look, I cannot even talk properly now. It has nothing to do to how I felt while I was doing the fast. Everything was clear. Everything was sharp. When I was reading, I had this experience. I'm gonna tell you, not to feel that wow. No, it was the fast. It was not even me. I was doing this research on some Gnostic texts, you know, from the time of Christ, blah, blah, blah. And I found a group of people who were like really studying this from 30 years, you know, people that were like in their 70s, really experts on this thing. And they were doing a meeting every week. And I joined, you know, I just started joining these meetings, and I thought I had nothing to give these people, you know, these are experts, and I'm just a 30-year-old woman, like what I'm gonna tell them. The mind was so sharp, Gino. Like, I swear, I was saying things I didn't know where they came from, you know. I was reading texts that were so difficult, and for me were crystal clear. It was amazing. And for that reason, for that reason, I will go again and suffer 108 days, even if I suffer from my stomach, because to feel so free from the fog, to feel so free from this nebula that we have in our brain, is priceless, really. And when that nebula goes, when that thought goes, I think you connect more to God somehow, because I was feeling so at peace, so much faith, so much surrendering to God's will, and that is maintained. Even now that I'm eating, I still have this, you know, whatever happens, I'm at peace. It's God's will, and it's okay. Yeah, I'm no one to contest that, you know. And I think the Master Fast helped me a lot to connect to that sensation, to connect probably to the wisdom of the soul that knows that the ego has nothing to say regarding whatever is happening in reality. So yeah, the fast does a lot to purify also the mind, the emotions, everything.
Yeah, just remember,
it's not only the body.
Just remember that your next fast is not going to be the same experience. Every fast is different, and people
I tell myself that
going to happen and stuff. Just allow it to happen, embrace it all, and work it through. You know, very few people have the extreme pains and stuff going through the fast. It's a small amount of people. Most people have no problem, and they're working full-time jobs and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But there is the small amount of people that go through them suffering. And, you know, just like you said, imagine if you didn't fast, and where would you be in 5, 10, 15 years? It won't be a good place. It wouldn't be a good place.
And that for sure. Like, I had Paulo here that he was doing awesome. He was cutting wood, going here, going there, and I was suffering. So, of course, I know firsthand that you can do this fast. He was feeling better than ever, you know, and even now in the post-fast, he's better than me because, you know, he's so sensitive. Whenever he eats something that it's a little bit out, he's not feeling as good as he feels with the fast. He was, and now he's doing long dry fast. He's gonna do the seasonal dry fast. I do my weekly fast. I do my 24 hours. I do it, but I'm not able to really go like he's going for 4 days. You know, he's amazing, but he feels so energetic when he does that. You know, he says like he's full of energy. So of course, I think it has a lot to do with how much you purify your body. Probably after some fast, I don't know how many more rounds I need, but I'm sure I'm gonna feel good. Also, I'm able to do more dry fast. I just need time. I guess I really messed up my body.
I started day 6.
Yeah, I read. How many days are you going for?
We'll see.
You don't know? Okay. Yeah, I told Paulo. And he was like, but he's doing the seasonal. And he's gonna start. He's gonna arrive to day 21. Oh my God, he's gonna. You know, so he was doing the calculations for you.
I don't put a number. I just let it go.
That's good. No, he's gonna start the 14th, Paulo. His seasonal dry fast. Yeah, he's gonna do it. Yeah, he's awesome. 108 days, 8 hours he did the last time. Yeah, nice. Chapeau to that. No, yes.
Gaby, I was gonna say something. So you said you're saying I don't know how many fasts I need to purify. I honestly, I would say don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Like, yeah, but I mean, like, don't worry about, you know, finding when your body will be very comfortable to do more and more and more. I would say just I mean, you feel great doing it, so just keep doing it, right? So just keep doing it. And when you eat, if you choose to eat once in a while, do your best. When you have more fasting days, you're going to definitely make better choices with food. So, yeah.
That's the thing. Like, I have to be super honest. Like, one of my goals before starting the fast was to get rid of the craving of the food. And that hasn't really gone with one fast. On the opposite, I think I've reconnected to food in another way. Like, I like to cook a lot now, not even for me, I like the act of cooking. Even when I was during the fast, I really enjoyed a lot the smells and everything. So I reconnected to that sense to food. I don't think I'm gonna push myself to disconnect from eating with the mind, because I know that with the mind, nothing can really last. So my plan is to keep doing one master fast a year at least, one round of at least 40 days, 108 days every year at least. And I think with that, it will purify itself. It's not something that I need to do or something that I need to push myself to change. Because with the mind, I cannot change, really. There's not real
Have you
change.
thought of a mini master fast option? Like, let's say a few days a week you eat, and then the rest of the day you fast, making a routine?
I'm not really in the point of doing that, because what I can tell you is that the tougher part of the master fast for me was psychologically. And I feel I'm so tired of the effort I did, maybe wrongly, because like you are saying, I pushed myself really hard to be able to finish the 108 days. Maybe if I would broke, before, and I didn't push myself, I wouldn't feel so drained psychologically. So it's not even that I'm blaming the master fast in itself. Because I did things in this way, now I arrive into a point that I need to take a holiday in my brain and say, okay, this month, of course, safely, of course, doing things, following the protocol, I'm not doing anything crazy, but I'm taking my time. I have two options. I'm not sure. One, my birthday is in August, and I'm turning 33. So I had this thought of starting 40 days in July to be in fast while I'm in my birthday. Like, I thought it's a good thing to do. But I'm not sure if I'm ready psychologically, so I'm still pondering on this. But the will is there, the feeling that it's the right thing to do is there. For me, it's like I don't know, it's like an homage to God in a sense, it's something I do really to be near him, so I would think it's a good thing to do this on my birthday, when it's a moment that usually people just indulge during birthdays,
It will be your best birthday gift, my dear.
Yeah, I mentally, like, and my heart, I want to do it. I cannot promise I will be able to do it. Like, all the determination, like, I had this bottle of determination, guys. I used it all. Now I'm completely drained. So I need some time really to recover from the experience. But for sure, what I can tell you is that this is not a one-time experience for me. I had enough beautiful connections and feelings I had with this experience that I won't forget, that are bigger even of the pain that I had. So imagine how important it was, the master fast, for me, that even if I'm saying I suffer physically, I suffer, there is a seed that's planted, and I'm sure I'm gonna keep doing a fast every year. That if I had a little determination, I can promise you I will do one fast every year from now on, because I can see it's the only way. If I want to live a healthy life, it's for sure the only way. And if I want to recover the mind that I can have, that now I know I can have such a mind, of course I want to go for it. It's a big motivation. And also Paulo, he will keep doing. I mean, he got rid of his headache. So if I'm staying with him, we have to keep doing this together. So of course, like, he's gonna do another 108 days in the winter. I told him, I'm not sure I'm going to do 108 days because I don't want to push myself. I will start with 40 and I continue. You know, if I can continue, but I'm not going to do myself again of saying, yeah, 108 days like I did before. No, I did it. I'm at peace with myself. Now I'm going to do it for my body, not for my brain anymore.
We're so addicted to eating, you know, but
yeah,
bodies that we have, we are bodies, we are light, and bodies of light don't need this 3D food. We've been duped somehow, who knows when, to start eating these physical foods, and it's entrapped us. And now it's a struggle and a challenge for all of us to leave it behind. So we do it a little bit at a time, you know, and we clean out, and we reduce our intake and reduce our intake. And we start getting the clarity that the food is truly the illusion. I don't care what food it is. 3D food is 3D food. It's just different levels of obstructions, but we can see the clarity when we're fasting very, very brightly. And that's the beauty and what everybody's attracted to, unless it's just too overwhelming for emotionally for them, that they're just not ready to allow those things to surface and balance out, and they go back to pigging out in their old ways and numbing themselves in a comfortable way, like most people are living. It's a huge revelation that it took me many, 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 many years of practicing fasting. The more fasting I did, the more I loved it. And the more I loved it, the more fasting I did. And I couldn't let it go no matter what. No matter what track I went through with all the crazy things that almost killed me, fasting was the thing that always saved me.
But it was like that since the beginning. Because that's my question. Like, I'm hoping that this will develop in me, because maybe I'm coming from such a different way of doing things, in such ridiculous way of just eating anything, to do this. Everybody was there, yeah, of course. But I cannot say that I'm in love with fasting yet.
Yeah.
I can acknowledge it's a great candidate for marriage, but you know, I'm not in love yet. But I will keep doing it. It's just that at the moment, you know, Gina, it's so hard. You know, I'm living in Italy. It's so hard too, in that sense.
It's like a relationship. The more you work with it, the more stronger becomes the bond. It's the same thing with fasting. It takes time. Nobody falls in love with fasting the first time. Maybe a few do, but most people, once they start seeing the results and stuff, and they try the next one, and then they get a different result, and the next one, and then they start seeing the picture. It usually takes people 3, 4, 5 years, and say, yeah, I got to keep this for my life, you know. And some of them that go into it, they do it one time and they're gone. They just don't want to deal with solving their issues, and they're gone. They go back to their foods.
You know, I think people do realize, especially those who have done the 108 days, they realize how amazing fasting is. But once you are eating, good luck appreciating the fasting again, because you're almost like enemies now. You're addicted again. So a couple of fasts on and off and on and off and on and off will you will at some point you will say, like, am I like blind? You know, what am I doing? I'm lying to myself. You know, and your beliefs start changing. It's the belief system. It's deep. You know, it's not going to change easily.
The key is consistency. All the time, having little fast continuously. You know, just continue. Find something.
That's why I push myself also to do the weekly fast, because at some point the monkey mind is saying, "Oh, indulge yourself. Like, come on, you can no do it. Like, don't do it." You know, you have to really have a discipline to do it, because it's like Rana says, like, you start eating and it's a Pandora's box. You start like, oh yeah, then I will try this, and no, I will add this to see how I feel, you know, and then you're back. Like, I'm not back to the way I was, that's for sure. Like, I was a disaster, and now I'm staying in the vegetables, like not even to cheese, not even, of course not. I'm sure that this, if I ate something of that, it would be like very heavy. Even one day I have a confession to make. I fall for an egg. I swear to myself I wouldn't, and I did. You know, my dad, he has 500 roosters, so I grew up with homemade eggs. So, it's hard. It's emotions. So somebody brought me an egg that was, from a chicken. I was like, okay, I have to try this egg. I will put it in a salad, whatever. The moment I ate it, I swear, like not even 2 minutes after I ate it, I think the moment I ate it, oh my God, I felt the cloud in my head. Like really, like I told Pablo, I feel I'm high. Like I was high, but in a bad way, not in a good way even. Like
stimulants.
It's crazy. It's really crazy. So when you see what it does to the body, then it's like Rana says, if I do it again, I'm self-destructive. Like, this is not okay.
I was just thinking, you said fasting, it's like a good candidate for marriage. It's a good candidate, but you're not in love. And then when you come off the fast, it's like you're divorcing this love partner or whatever, this candidate. You're like, and you're angry at them. And some people just leave it, right? But people like us are the faithful ones. Even if we're angry, we come back to the fast.
Yeah. No, I know I will. Like, I have the commitment to do it. And in that sense, it's really good to be with Paulo too, that we are two that are very committed to this. And I've seen the miracle that it did to him. So I have no doubt, that this is a good way. But yeah, I have to be honest to myself at this point. It's really tough. I think my minimum to do, like my minimum discipline that at least I would do every week is the dry fast and keep my daily dry of 12 hours, 14 hours, depending on the day. And many things change. Like, for example, I don't crave bread anymore. Like I used to have breakfast with bread. Now I have my thing with fruits, and I'm so happy with the fruits. So many things have changed, but I'm halfway for sure. Like I still have halfway in the sense of the shit that I need to take out of my plate. More than halfway in regards to the fast. I have a lot of work to do, that's for sure. But yeah, it's gonna take time. I cannot pretend this is gonna change with one experience of 108 days, for sure. And of course, like Gino said before, I tell to myself, don't create a reality of another fast like this. It depends on me. It's gonna be different next time. I'm sure that it's not gonna be the same. And with that spirit, I will enter my next fast, whether it's now, next month, or in November, which is gonna be if I don't do it now. But yeah, it's hard, because you were telling me all the time, you are creating your own reality, yeah. And I understand the concept, but it's so hard when you're in the middle of the pain, just to do something with that. I was saying, but I'm creating this, like, how can I change it? It's like nobody wants pain in a conscious level. Maybe in an unconscious level, I was punishing myself. We can do psychology here. Maybe there's something there, but I couldn't do anything, to solve that pain. It was really, really frustrating, really hard for me to deal with that.
Yeah, that's why we work through the physical to get to the emotional, because it's very, very difficult and challenging for most to do it the other way around. Maybe 1 in a billion can do it the other way. It's not impossible. And like you were saying earlier about how do you get rid of the toxins without doing the fasting and everything. It's possible to turn matter into light, but very few will be able to achieve it. As time goes on and more of this information comes out, we'll see more and more do it. The little children are going to start teaching us this stuff. Children that are coming up, children of light that are being born in, they'll be able to do this stuff very easily. We're seeing that happening, but it's not that it's impossible. It's just it's not been in our generations that it's a normal thing, and what's normal for us is eating.
Yeah.
I want to say something. I used to believe, maybe a few months ago, that we do create our own reality. I honestly don't believe so anymore. Since I started praying, I believe that it's God creates our reality, whether we like it or not, but we have power, yes, and this power comes from God. But we must ask God for help. We can't do it alone. Humans cannot do it alone. We are too imperfect to to expect to be perfect. You know, it's impossible. So in my opinion, do your part, do your best. You know what's the best, you know. You have enough experience to decide, and then leave the rest to God.
Yeah,
You know,
it.
regularly pray and connect with God and ask God for help, because you have to let go. We think we're too smart. We're not. I mean, my goodness, you studied so much. I studied so much. We're not smart. It's, if anything, we're more stupid. I'm sorry, but you know,
stupid.
Yeah, it narrows your mind. Like you're thinking, you're studying all the details, and you're forgetting the big picture, which is so simple and so common sense. So yeah, in my opinion, it's important to start praying and start connecting and stop believing that you are God, because you're not God. You're not perfect. We're humans. So do your best. I'm not saying that to do your best and be a bum and just sit down and do nothing. No, do your best, and part of your best is to pray and connect, you know.
Yeah. In fact, I think that the thing that really helped me to keep going through the fast was really surrendering. I remember many moments that I was in a lot of pain, and the fact of accepting the pain, in a sense, you know, just letting go of fighting the pain, just saying, okay, be it your will, you know, if this is your will, if I need to go through this for some reason, because in a way, I don't like pain, nobody likes pain, but in a way, sometimes it's a good teacher, in the sense that it teaches you a lot of humility. When you allow yourself to surrender to certain things, it's something magical happens. I swear that at some points I was like, God, really made this be your will, whatever it is, I accept it, and the pain would suit you. The moment I would say that for real, and I was like really letting go, boom, the pain was 50% off. And that was magical, you know, that was really, because one of the things that it was really hard for me, and it's still so much work to do, is my femininity. And being feminine has a lot to do with surrendering. I did a lot of studies in Tantra, and, you know, they talk about Shiva Shakti and the role of the feminine. It has to do with surrendering, but surrendering is not weakness. It's power to be able to surrender to the will of God, to be able to surrender to what reality is. And the fact that I'm not really connected to my feminine made me a very mannish woman, in the sense of, well, I'm a warrior, I will go, I will do, this thing of God-like. It's not that I felt God, but you feel you can do, you feel you can impose, you're entitled to this and to that and to fight. So I think Master Fast has a lot of lessons still stored for me. There is a lot of work to do. The feminine was a big thing, because even talking about this for me is weird, because I wouldn't even acknowledge this as a problem 6 months ago, you know, like now being able to say, hey, you know, I'm having an issue with the feminine, it's already a big step. And also coming to treasure the feminine, because I swear I had exercises when they were asking me, like, say a feminine figure that you admire, and I was like thinking for 15 minutes and not having not even one, you know. And now really trying to start seeing that aspect, try to see how important is the feminine energy, how much it can do to manifest things, you know, because the masculine energy has a lot to offer, a direction to offer, a lot of things, but the feminine is the one that manifests. Rana is the one that organizes everything, I'm sure, you know, she's the one that makes the product. So the feminine has a lot to give, and I never really respect that part in the outside world and in the inside at all. And I think I had a lot to work to do with that, with the feminine. The Master Fast showed me through the surrendering a big challenge there that I need to.
You were mentioning how your mom's home was like a restaurant. She was giving, and any kind of food. I mean, your father won't do that, you know?
But I think my mom, she was so sacrificing in some sense that I just rebelled to that. You know, I was like, I will never be a mother. Like, that's something I always said. I will never be a mother. I will never, you know, all the thing with the family. I never wanted to get married. Every time they proposed, I said, you know, and they broke their relationship, I was like, no. I am my own woman, my own man, my own everything. And I think it was a rebellious to that, to the way my mom was, you know. You're gonna laugh about this. My mom is doctor in nutrition. And I always ate anything. You know, my mom like, eat some more fruit. What fruit? You know, I wouldn't eat any fruit. Yeah. So she gave everything up, you know, and I was always her priority, and my father, and she was very devoted. She is very devoted. I'm not home anymore, but she's still very devoted. And I just thought, no. I need to travel. I need to do something else. I cannot give up my life like she's doing. That was my image. And now, you know, I'm seeing that, you know, those are choices. She's happy doing that. She's really happy. I had a talk with her, because that's another thing with the fast, which is amazing. It makes you see your relationships again. It opens you up to be able to talk from a different way, not wanting to have to be right about something, just wanting to really connect. And it was funny because I sent to my mom the books of Edith. I sent them to Argentina. I found the Spanish translation, and I sent them to her for Christmas. And she read them, you know, and she was like, wow, all my years of nutrition studies, you know, they were all so wrong. You know, she's so open-minded. I was amazed, you know, because she's 69. And, you know, she's open-minded. She read, and they start cutting off milk, and they're not having milk anymore, and they're not having cheese anymore. And, you know, my dad is 85, my mom is 69, you know, and they're making changes in the diet. I'm so proud, you know, and they're starting to do something about it. So yeah, we had a lot of positive things, you know, in every different senses. And
our families are definitely not perfect. Our parents are not perfect, you know. They are also human beings, and I think they went through more drama than we did, because of whatever, the wars and immigration and all that stuff, right? So they worked really hard, and they didn't make enough time for themselves. They're just like work, you know?
Work, family, work.
Yeah, and I'm sure they were stressed, and they couldn't do much about it. They didn't know how to handle the stress. And, I mean, we're blessed now with the internet, sharing information with each other and finding answers. You know, and I go back to the old ways, and that's praying, which they knew better than we do. I see that as the best way to help your emotions, you know?
Yeah, for me, definitely connecting to God. And it's funny because we are so programmed to say, like, when you talk with people about God or about Jesus or about whatever, you know, they're so programmed to think that we are crazy evangelists or something, you know. They're programmed to think that we're crazy, really. But they don't really, it's really, what?
A cult, we've been called many times.
Yeah, I know. So it's very hard to share these things with others. Like, I can see it's very hard. People are very into their own thing. They don't want to be challenged. They don't want to hear what you're doing. They might be curious, but they really don't want to know. So, you know, I leave them do whatever they want. But for me, it was really a nice thing to see in the sense of my parents, that it's never too late. It's never really too late. And if you're open-minded, maybe you hear it. Like, if you share it, if the Bible says so, you know, if you throw the seed and the soil is right, then it will plant. You throw the seed, then whatever happens. It's not my responsibility to save anybody, you know. But it's nice that, you know, even older people, they can hear the message, and that's good, because my mom, she had cancer in the past. So for me, it was very important when I start reading Eret and, you know, getting into all this, for her to at least to start changing some things, you know, and I'm happy she's doing that. Yeah, guys, I don't know what else to say. I talk so much.
That's amazing. Good for you.
Yeah.
Maybe we can take questions after Gina.
So, yeah, well, questions, sure. Anybody can ask. Just post them or ask. But
if they don't fall asleep, we don't mind talking.
What was the reason that besides your stomach issues, or the stomach issues wasn't one of the reasons that you were trying to resolve?
No, I was not even, like I said before, I didn't listen to my body. So for me, my stomach issues were not really an issue. It was like, yeah, sometimes it happens, sometimes it didn't, whatever. Yeah, my reason was mostly spiritual, honestly. And in that sense, I had results. But yeah, it takes more time.
Yeah.
Takes more fast.
Any other physical things that you noticed changed? Like you became more sensitive to foods after, which means your body's awakened now. Anything else you realized?
Yeah, I used to start having headaches. That was an issue because I was getting very worried about that because of what he had, you know, his problem. His problem started about when he was my age, and I was starting to have headaches often. Sometimes I would even take his medicine because the headache was so strong. I would just take one of his painkillers just to take it out. We even went to a Chinese doctor for him and then for me, and she was like, oh my God, you're in a really bad state, but I didn't really pay attention to what she said. So yeah, those headaches disappeared. Like now I don't have headaches anymore. He made me notice more. Like Paolo is making me notice, hey, you don't have the headaches anymore. Hey, your stomach is really good. Hey, you don't get nausea when you're in the car anymore. So he makes me notice because I'm still very, very disastrous in that sense.
Were you constipated before?
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Yeah, the constipation and the head are always connected.
Yeah, very much so. Like I would go to the toilet 3 times a week, maybe.
Wow.
Like even when I was little, now I remember my mom would ask me, and I would get angry at her. You know, when I was, I don't know, 10 years or whatever, she was like, did you go to the toilet today? And I was like, Mom, what do you care? Like, what a nasty question, blah, blah, blah. Like, I would never care about that. But yeah, now super bowels. now we go 3, 4, 5 times. Like if you eat something, you're in the toilet like in half an hour or less. It's crazy. So yeah, that problem is 100% solved.
Super bowel.
No question about it. For Paolo too. Yeah.
So
no questions about it.
When was the day you finished the 108?
26th of March. 26 March.
Yeah, you're still in the second phase.
So we're in day 76.
Yeah.
Post-fast. Yeah.
Awesome.
Amazing, huh? The day I broke the fast, I didn't want to break the fast. I was like a whole day, like I didn't want to eat my tomato. I didn't want to. Until Paulo said, okay, if you are not going to break the fast, you need to drink the juice. And I was like, okay, I eat my tomato.
Wait, oh yeah, you had tomatoes. How did that go, eating tomatoes after?
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. It was really nice. I ate tomato the first day. The second day, I took your advice and I took oranges. That were really nice. But then mostly like it was tomato and maybe I put some prezzemolo. How do you say that in prezzemolo? Parsley. Oh yeah, you know, parsley, yes. So I would put some parsley on it, and for me, because I was craving salty food, you know, like I was done with sweet. Like I couldn't, so eating fruit for me was sweet. So I was like, my brain needed a fantasy and illusion of a salad, of something that was a food. So I went straight to tomatoes.
I think in general, people are more addicted to salts than they are sugar.
Yeah. Yeah, in that sense, like before I used to like sweet because Argentinian, they love sweet things. They eat a lot of sweets. Now I don't care, like ice cream, for example, it can disappear from the face of the earth. I don't care, really. I don't care about sweets at all.
You eat dairy. You really feel if you have an ice cream, it really plugs you up. The dairy?
No, I wouldn't sacrifice myself. But a pizza, Gino, I have to be honest. That
plasma pizza.
Plasma pizza. And the spaghetti, we don't have a plasma spaghetti, huh?
Don't worry, we'll invent one.
You have the zucchini noodles.
Yeah, the zucchini.
Those things are still a craving. Those things haven't gone away. So that I have to say. But it will take time. What can we do?
Gaby, in my opinion, as long as you're eating, you're going to be having cravings.
You know,
but the more obstructed, the more cravings you have.
But honestly, Trana, when I was in the fast, I was not hungry, but the cravings, oh my God, I never watched cooking videos in my life. I was watching all the cooking videos in YouTube.
Yeah, but you know why we do that? I also used to watch lots of videos and take save a lot of photos and stuff like that. That's you're anticipating to break your fast. But if you're not thinking about breaking your fast, it's like freedom. It really is.
I was like that in day 10, Ron. I have to be honest. He was not preparing to break the fast. It was just, I realized that we need we have an emotional connection to food. And even if you are not eating, just to be around. And I realized when the students came to meditate that we need to cook. We were afraid, we froze the activities for a month. And then somebody was like, hey, I'm near Italy, please, I want to do a retreat. Okay, come. And we were like, oh my God, now cooking, doing the fast is gonna be terrible. And then we cooked and it was amazing. It was really, really nice. And then I saw that it was this connection, this really emotional connection with the food that was satisfied. I was not tempted. I was not hungry. I didn't even want to try the food at all, not temptation in that sense, but I was so happy because food was around, because I was having contact with that. So the emotional connection, it's there, and it needs to be fed still with videos, with cooking, with something. It's really not about the eating.
Now, when I was saying the more obstructions, when I was saying anticipating for the food, I mean after maybe 40, maybe 60 days of the fast, you're going to be pretty clean in your bowels, okay? So you're going to have much less obstructions. And at that time, in my opinion, there will be absolutely no hunger, okay? No cravings even for most people. Now, towards the end of the fast, like let's say day 90, you're going to finish 108, you start thinking, oh yeah, food is coming. So what am I going to start cooking? And you start thinking of all these ideas. Now, at the beginning of the fast, I would say before at least 40 days, you might have cravings because you still have lots of waste to remove. And the more obstructions in the body, the more cravings. I mean, this is my experience. But after maybe 40 days, it's so easy. Yeah. I don't know, maybe sometimes the first 3 weeks, and then it's so easy.
I was having the most funny dreams. I was dreaming, I was eating all the time. One of the last dreams I had, I don't know if it was in day, 70, 80 or whatever. I had a dream that I was in a buffet. I never go to a buffet in my life. I was in a buffet putting food, anything, noodles, whatever shit that I don't even like to eat. And then one guy, he looks at me, and a completely stranger, he looks at me, he was like, oh my God, you are really hungry. And I looked at him with hate in my eyes, and I was like, you have no idea for how long I haven't eaten. Even in the dreams, I knew, I had this craving.
I'll tell you, in 1 month, go have a pizza and a plate of pasta and tell me how you feel the next day.
I wouldn't dare. No, if I had a pizza, it would be homemade. Come on, if you go like that, is something I will never do again. Go to a restaurant, come on, the things that they put, no, at least I know. If I'm going to be crazy and use olive oil, I know how much. But in the restaurants, no way, Gino. Not so much as to decide that I am.
The more you stay away, the better.
Yeah.
When you start going into those things, you'll want more and more. They're very, very addictive. Worse than the most addictive drugs.
Yeah. I always thought I was not an addictive person. I never smoke or anything. I can tell you guys, I'm addicted to food. Yeah, I'm super. Yeah, it's incredible.
We all are.
I don't know how it is, but it's amazing. And I think everybody is, but nobody really understands how addicted to food we are. Yeah. It's the only thing. It's the only thing, really.
We're full of parasites.
Yeah, well, the parasites, oh my God. Things that came out.
Yeah, then day 90 and you start releasing worms. Yeah.
No. Those things, you want them out. You really want them out. And like you said, the bowels supposedly, we were going to colonics. And the doctoress, this lady, she had no idea, because if I go to colonics to you, Rana, you know what to expect. But this lady, Italian, she was like, what are these people doing? And we were in day 60, and she was seeing the stools that were coming out. And she was like, if I don't see it, I don't believe it. Like, you are empty. Not even people that eat take all these things out. You know, it was amazing the things that were coming out. And we were explaining to him, this is all stuff. We were saying to her, you know, it's not what you ate. We're full of shit, you know. But yeah,
it's funny. Yeah, I have many clients, usually the older people. They come and they don't release much, especially in the first colonic or first few, and they don't release much, and they think they're clean, huh? Because they're not releasing. I'm like, listen, I've never seen a clean person, okay? So if you're not releasing, you're obstructed, you're blocked, and yeah, just give them a little lesson.
Yeah, it's amazing. No, it's really crazy to see all the things that come out of a body. Yeah, for me it was a shock. I had this illusion. I was very, very healthy, very young. No, nobody is, I think.
It's the state of mind is really important. You know, you don't see big eaters that are centurions. All the ones that live long lives are small eaters. So even though they eat a bit of everything, they're small eaters. That's the key. Less is more, always. And me, I was opposite. I was a humongous eater. I would devour everything and clean everybody, all the leftovers up.
You know what? My dad, he's 85 and he's super active, super okay. You know, he works with the farm, with the chickens and all these things. And he always told me when I was little, eat fruit. He ate breakfast fruit. He ate fruit before lunch. He ate so much quantity of fruit. I think he ate like 2-3 kilos a day of fruit. He loves oranges. He eats fruit. Fruit is his favorite thing. He eats a lot of other things. He has a big panza and he likes food and all the meat and all these things. But I think what keeps him well and, you know, the brain works well and everything is the huge quantity of fruit he eats. It's really, and he always told me, and I never pay attention really. So now he's happy. When I show him the bowl of fruit that I'm eating, now he's happy.
You got through to you.
Yeah, somehow in a very weird way.
You haven't seen your parents for 6 years, is that right?
No, they came to visit. They gave up. So
they gave up on you visiting?
So in 2014, they came for the first time. And then last year they came again, but I went to Argentina for the first time in 5 years. And it was a shock. And I ate meat. I'm sorry. I went to my parents' house, and even if I'm vegetarian for long, you know, his mom cooking meat, it's like I couldn't say. But you know, I didn't even like it. So that was also a shock. But yeah, no, I haven't gone much to Argentina, only once.
It's great that you have a good relationship with them.
Yeah.
It's important.
It's super.
You're not going to be happy without this relationship, right?
No. And it's nice because when I left, they were very sad. They were very angry in a way also because they fought with the other children because they're very like this, you know, and they're lovely, but you know, if you don't do what you need to do, then they are like, okay, I don't talk to you. So when I left my career in law, you know, that was a tough thing for them. It was really, really tough. And I thought, okay, you know, I disappointed them. It's gonna be a mess. And then when they came in 2014, my mom, she was like, I'm so proud of you. You were so brave, you know, and you're so happy and you're really doing what you want to do. And that for me was the most beautiful thing ever, you know, and she changed so much and she changed her perspective. And when you were saying, G, you know, this thing about redemption, you know, this redempting of our ancestors and things, I feel there is something of that going on, you know, because I'm trying to them to start talking to their other sons again, you know, to start to be more flexible, to start to see, you know, that they are not right in everything. And yeah, my mom, she recovered a relationship with one of her daughters, you know, so little by little, maybe things start going well. But I think that's the work we need to do, you know, try to help them because not everybody has the same path. You know, and maybe they didn't have the opportunity to question certain things or explore certain things. So yeah, so it's important.
Yeah, for sure. By us helping find balance for ourselves, we're also helping them as well, for sure.
Yeah.
We can't be separate. We come from them. So
Yeah.
we're all part of that.
That's a beautiful outcome.
Yeah. But talking about the palate, the cleaner the palate is, the more flavors you will get from the simplest foods. The more we eat crap, the more those foods will taste like nothing, and the more crap will you want to eat. So the cleaner you eat, the more flavors you'll get. Just eating green leaves or just the fruit will be enough. You get all the
Yeah.
beautiful flavors, especially if you can get ripe fruit, like in Italy. Over here, we don't have that great luxury. It's challenging to find ripe fruit here. You have to know how to pick. But when you eat ripe fruit, it's awesome. It's beautiful.
And now we're starting our own garden because we found a house with a good place to start cultivating. So we start with spinach and we're starting to do our own thing. So that is
Beautiful.
also nice to see the plants grow.
All the
Yeah,
herbs,
but it's true because Paolo, he's eating cleaner than me. I put more things or more spices. And when I eat his food, I am like, but this is flour, like it doesn't have any flavor. And he's like, wow, no, for me, it's super. So he's doing things better than me. Yeah.
Yeah.
To be honest.
When I'm in the garden, I do a few things. I just go pick and stuff and eat. That's the way I eat, From a tree, when I was in Italy, picking fresh figs off the tree. There's nothing like a fig off a tree.
You were in the south of Italy.
Oh, yeah, there's nothing like the I can't eat figs that they send over here. They're all unripe and hard. And it's just not the same.
No, it's not.
That's the challenge for people living in other climates. To be living on fruit, it doesn't happen very easily because the quality's not there. It's just not there. And then people go off and eat whatever because they need something. Because if it ain't ripe, it ain't worth eating, basically. You might as well make some jams or something and cook the fruit, and you'll get better emotional support that way than eating unripe fruit. But or you can get some frozen fruits and do that. But it's we got to do the best we can, and when we're eating the lifestyle, less is more. Eating a few days a week, and no big deal. You don't have to search for food every single day. Because that's ludicrous to go back to 7 days a week. It's just no way.
Yeah.
You get into trouble real quick eating 7 days a week. Just look at the
it's important to maintain the discipline, that's for sure.
Yeah. You get this, when we're clear, we have our goals all written down for the next 9 years minimum. That's continuously look at them, continuously update them, and have a reason why you're doing it. And you'll continue. If you don't have a reason, you won't continue.
I think the reason is the experience that at least in my case, that I've had already. That is a memory that doesn't really go away. Once you have that experience, then there is no doubt. It's inside of you somehow. So
yeah, experience trumps all. Once you go through the experiences, then the understanding comes, and you continue, and it's just amazing how it opens all up for you.
Yeah.
Your questions start getting answered. If you start asking the proper questions, it's amazing. It's very simple. It's a very simple lifestyle. The less is more, in every which way. Just get rid of stuff. Dump. You'll feel much better. Things that you don't need. I just threw away a bunch of old clothes that I haven't just worn in years. What am I doing with these things? 3 big garbage bags. Give it to the the places they collect clothes and stuff. So just keep cleaning. I got so much stuff to get rid of. Still, so much stuff that I've collected over the years. We all.
Me not so much, traveling so much, not so many things, but books, That's the only thing.
I got rid of even most of all my books. Lots of books I got rid of. I just kept a few. Eventually I'll get rid of those too. Because it's nice reading other people's experience and stuff, but once you've got the concept and you go live yours and you create your own concept through your understanding, and this is what everybody's doing, living this type of lifestyle, and this is how we're learning and expanding from each other's experiences. It's just amazing when people start sharing. It's awesome. We learn so much from everybody's little posts. You know, we learn so much of all the experiences because no two are alike. No two are alike. Just as vast as the stars, no two stars are alike in the universe. That's just awesome.
Yeah, yeah. Of course, everybody has each thing to purify. We are all different.
Mm-hmm. So how's Paulo?
It's all the story of your life in your body. So of course it's gonna be different.
Yeah. So how's Paulo? He's okay?
He's good. Do you want to see him? I can call him.
If he's around.
Yeah, he's around. The house is not so big. Wait, 1 second.
Yeah.
Paulo! Paulo! Yay!
Awesome. Another amazing story. Living it, loving it, and going through those challenges.
He's coming. He's coming.
Yeah. So, you know, I think now you have a little more understanding from when you started.
Vieni, Paolo, vieni. Enter qui.
Hello.
Hello.
Ciao Gino, how are you?
Good. Come stai?
Bene, bene.
It's okay. Excellent. Nice.
Tutto ok, tutto ok.
Enjoying the beautiful weather.
Yeah, we are in the mountains.
Nice.
It's a bit cold still.
It's cold.
Yeah,
I
it's
love
not
the
yet
mountains.
summer yet.
Yeah, I love the mountain air. It's beautiful. Very
It's
refreshing.
dry.
Yeah, very dry.
So, yeah.
Ho chiacchierato mucchio, Paolo.
Yeah, I think so.
I talk a lot.
How was everything? Good?
I don't know what's them.
Amazing. Amazing.
Amazing. Amazing. You did a great job.
Yeah, I managed to talk in English today. My English is terrible.
Hello?
Rana.
Rana,
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
Yeah, that was great.
Anybody
Great sharing, Gabby. Very beautiful story.
Anybody have any questions before we wrap up?
Sta Francesco.
There's people on.
Che ti saluto.
So anyway, okay. So we thank you guys so much for sharing your time and your experience and inspiring others. You know, that even though you had a very challenging time, you know, you've seen what happens when you surrender and let go and allow it to manifest and happen. Just let it happen. Body knows what to do because it's working through the soul, and that's the beauty and this thing that very few understand about fasting. Mostly out there, it's fear, 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 ignorance, ignorance, ignorance. It's going to kill you, and we know different. We live it, and we learn to love it over time.
Gino, I wanted to, before we go, I wanted to really thank you and also Rana and everybody. Really, I wouldn't have been able to do this without you, without him for sure, because he was here dealing with the worst part. But without you guys really supporting, I was in moments that were so tough. And if it was not you, was Rana or some other that would say the right thing in the right moment for me to be able to hold on to something, because at some points you are so desperate or so frustrated or whatever that it's really important to know that you are not alone, really, because it's hard. It's a very particular experience that most people don't understand, that you cannot really share with the people around you. I was lucky that he was doing also Paulo with me, but otherwise you are very alone. So it's very vital to have people around and to have you guys there, and especially, well, you and of course Rana too, but you know, I was connected to you somehow because you're so Manipura too, and I was like, okay, you know, if Gina says, I will do it, you know. So I was like really thankful that you were there all the time, because you know, you put a lot of yourself, because you're always there, Gino. Like I was telling Paolo, you know, Gino's always there. Like somehow he's always replying questions. So thank you so much for what you're doing, Gino. It really means a lot. Even if we talking with words in a computer, it doesn't feel so much, but really it's a lot what you're doing. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. This is that's why we have the club, the board, because I know how crucial the support is. Because when you're walking in blind, it's really scary for people. It really is. Just that's the way I did it, and I'm going, whoa, what's going on? But I just let it happen. Let's see where it goes. I'll trust these words that Arnold Herrick's talking about, and let me see what happens. And it's every time, every experience, you get more confidence and more confidence and more confidence. But when you have a team of people and others you can share, and somebody else went through that, and somebody else went through that, you can connect and resonate, and it gives you that confidence and that keep going, because
that it's very important, because they make you feel you're crazy otherwise. The outside world makes you feel you're crazy. Yeah. And what you're doing is extreme. Everybody was telling me, you're so extreme what you're doing, but really it's like nobody would understand. So if you don't have this support system that brings you back to good senses, then I can understand some other people would lose their track, because the world is telling you the opposite.
I call extreme getting your chest split open, having the surgeon's hands inside your body.
Of course, yeah.
Injecting you with all drugs. I call that extreme. But hey, everybody has their opinion. The trust in your soul. It's your own soul. Once you gain that trust, man, magic starts happening. Man, it shines. Like I see so many people quit way too early. They just don't have the trust. They make all the excuses. Yeah. I'm listening to my body, and they don't have a clue how to listen to the body. The body starts waking up after 108 days.
Yeah.
It starts.
Sure. No, you need to have a lot of determination and a lot of faith. Like we really, before we started, we said, whatever happens, we keep going. I remember reading the list in the protocol that says the possible symptoms, feeling that you're about to die. And I was like, okay, even if I feel that I'm dying, I keep going. This is one of the possible symptoms. So we were like really, really committed to that, and not getting afraid, not freaking out, knowing that it was part of the process. Whatever happens, it was part of the process. So it was tough, the pain, but if it was not even being scared. We had a lot of faith, and I think it's needed, because this is something that is very, very particular.
Will people die fasting? I've not seen in fasting. I've seen it after breaking the fast, but in fasting, we're going to probably get people dying in fasting, because they've gone through the system and been butchered so much, and then they'll blame the fast. That's the funny thing.
But I remember the phrase Michelle says in one interview.
It's not easy to die.
It's not easy to die. She said it.
We always remember.
We saw this. We saw her interview before doing the fast, and he always said to me, "Remember, it's not easy to die." And we were like, "Yeah, it's not easy to die. We keep going."
Yeah, she went through a
lot of things. Yeah.
God bless.
That's why it's important even to see the Zoom's interviews, to know what to expect before you go in, because maybe it doesn't happen what it happens to me or to another person, but you get more information, and then it's not so much of a surprise. At least you don't get so scared.
I want to add that people, might die fasting, but there are so many different types of fasting.
Of course.
We're not, we're talking here about the master fast alone, right? So on the master fast, we have not seen one person die. Unless they're, maybe if they're doing it on their own, they're not following the protocol, they're doing pieces of the protocol. It's not our, we don't want to be involved with that.
Fast.
Yeah, we can't support
every single second of the day, there's people dying from food. Every second. Or accidents, or swimming, or sport, whatever. And, fasting, the way we can find balance is there's so much fear into it. So much fear. But the key in today's toxic man is having an understanding on how to safely remove all those toxic obstructions. That's the challenge.
And to be responsible.
Of course.
Because you cannot make decisions and then blame them on somebody else.
If you're not responsible, don't do it. Don't do it. Eat. Keep eating. Go to your surgeon. Go to your doctor. So thank you guys again. We'll wrap it up, and it's awesome. And ci vediamo.
Thank you. It was fun. Thank you. Thank you, Gaby.
Ciao, everybody.
Thank you for having me.
Ciao.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao, ciao.
Ciao, Francesco.
Bye.